Agodevach, this is Gemara in Kiddushin and Daf Zayin, all the learning for this month. The month of Elul has been generously sponsored as an incredible Schos Aliyas Neshama V'Ester Rezel Basar Ameir B'Siyata Dishmaya. The learning of the entire Chabura should bring Esther Rezel Bas Rameir to an higher in place in Gan Eden Shalmaila, closer to the Kisei HaKavod B'Siyata Dishmaya. We pick it up on the last line of Vav Amid Beis with a statement of Rava. Once we're on the topic of Kiddushin with Kesef, continues the Gemara, Amar Rava. 10 mana liploini. So woman says to man, give mana to Pliny, and via you giving Pliny money, v'akadesh ani lecha, I will be married to you. So again, let's call it Rachel. Rachel tells Reuven, Rachel wants to marry Reuven. So Rachel tells Reuven, don't give me money. Give money to Shimon. Give money to Sarah. Give money to someone else. And via you giving money to someone else, I will be married to you. Says the Gemara, Mikudeshes midin arif. The halacha is that is considered a good Kiddushin, just like a guarantor, just like an arif. Rashi on the second line explains, what does mean midin arif? Mimashem and sinabit Torah. Just like we find in the Torah, she'arev mishtabed lemilva, that an arev, a guarantor, is incumbent, is mishtabed, has to pay for the malveh. From there we can learn similarly over here. Arev means that when a third party guarantees this story, so too the Kiddushin here is going to be valid, as the Gemara is about to explain. Explains the Gemara, top line, Zayin Amar Aleph. Arif, when it comes to Arif, the Arif, the guarantor, doesn't get the Hana, doesn't actually get the Halva, doesn't get the loan, and yet, what's the halacha? The Arif, the guarantor, guarantees and obligates himself to pay. Hayitza, so to this woman, Nami as well, even though she does not get the benefit of the money of Kiddushin, she is giving herself over. So normally, the woman accepts the cash and thereby becomes a possession, becomes connected to the husband. Over here, the husband goes and pays money to a third party. And then the woman, via the same way a guarantor could say, I am going to pay you even though I didn't get the halva, the woman's going to give herself over even though she herself is not getting any benefit. Din number 1, Kiddushin midin arif. Din number 2 says Rava, Heilech manav iskadesh liplaini. If a man creates a shliach and he tells the shliach, take this money, the shliach says to the woman, hey Lachmana, take this money, viskadshi liplaini, and become married to Pliny. So over here, it's not that the husband is, or the wife is sending the husband. Over here, the third party is giving money to the woman so that she becomes married to this man. What's the halacha? Mikudeshes midin eved kenani. This Kiddushin from the law of Eved Kenani. What does that mean? Explains the Gemara 6 lines down. Zayin Amar Aleph. Eved Kenani lav avagav deloka chasar v'loy midi. And Eved Kenani, even though he's not losing anything, still Kakani nafshei, he acquires himself when someone else redeems him. Someone is a slave. Third party goes to the master, drops the master $1,000, whatever it is. The Evan now goes free, even though the Evan himself got nothing. So too, Gavra, this man, Nami, he's not losing anything, he's not paying for the money of Kiddushin. Still, Kakani la lahayitza, still he's making a kinyan to this woman. So 2 different halachas of Rava, Kiddushin midin arev, in which even though the woman does not get the benefit, she becomes acquired. Kiddushin midin eved Kenani, in which even though the man who's becoming married does not use his own money, based on these two dinim, creates Rava a third din. Says Rava, 10 money leploini v'akadesh ani loy. Over here, the woman says to a man, give money to so-and-so, and I'm going to be married to him. So now we have a combination of both dinim. Mikudeshes midin shnehem. Why? Arev, it's similar to an Arev Lavav Gavdol Kamatan Aliyadi Kamishtabe Navshay. Hayit, so to this woman, Nami Av Gavdol Kamatan Aliyada Kamikani Navsha. This woman is not getting the money of the Kiddushin, yet she is obligating herself, yet she's giving herself over as a kinyan like Arev. But says the Gemara, that's part A. But on this, ask the Gemara, 1 second, mi dami. Arev, hi, dekakani leikachasim imayna. Usually, in a case of an Arev, how does it work? Even though the person doesn't actually get benefit, excuse me, one more time. Hi, dekakani leikachasile mimayna. The one who acquires is losing money. Why? Because the only way that it works is that he gave the halva to start off with. Whereas over here, over here, it says the Gemara, 1 second, the husband is not losing anything. So on that answers the Gemara, that's where the other half of this comes in. Because why? Look, how does every Kanani work if though you don't lose any money? And you give yourself over as a Kenyan. Says the Gemara, 1 second, midami. So this woman, she's giving herself over, she's not getting anything. So on that, the Arev proves, so this explains Rava, we can have a combination of Kiddushin midin Arev with a combination of Kiddushin midin Evi Kenani. The two could go together and we could create a Chiddush. Arev is that the person itself isn't getting the benefit. Evi Kenani is that person is not giving themselves over. And now we could have that neither this woman is getting the Kiddushin, nor is the husband the one that is paying. A third party is involved, says Rava, and still there could be Kiddushin. Asks Rava, Ba'i Rava. So Rava started off the day, Kiddushin midin Arev, Kiddushin midin Evi Kenani, Kiddushin midin Shneim. And of course, if you're thinking about how this chasana looks, it's pretty funny that you have the person who's giving the ring and the person accepting the ring are neither parties getting married. Neither the husband nor the wife are there. And yet, it's a full-fledged Kiddushin. Ba'i Rava, continues Rava. Heilach amani v'kadesh anilach. Says Rava, a woman gives money to a man and says, take this money and I will become married to you. So over here, the woman herself is playing Ma'u. What is the halach? Amar Mar Zutra Mishay Dera Papa Mikudeshes. Amar Ravashi. Lemar Zutra Ravashi asked Mar Zutra Imkain. Havli Nechasim Sheish Lem Achrayis. Nikrim in Nechasim Shein Lem Achrayis. Over here, you have Nechasim with Achrayis, the woman herself, and that's being kinda together with properties don't have Achrayis, the Kesef. But we know Vananim Chatanan. As Ravashi, we learned the opposite. Nechasim she'ein lem achrayis, notably cash, are nicknamed in Nechasim she'ein lem achrayis. But Kesef shar b'chazaka. Amar lei. So Mar Zutra responds, Mi savris to Amar lei agav. Answers, do you think that the case is that the woman told the man to accept the money as part of the sidebar kinyan? No, that's not how it works. Over here we're dealing with that the person accepting the money is an honorable person. The mere fact that he accepts the gift, the acceptance, that is Gamra. She goes and she gives herself over to him as a wife. So says the Gemara, the Kiddushin would work, but it's a different mechanics. The mechanics that are working over here is the hana of someone chashiv accepting the gift. Continues the Gemara, Itmar Nami Mishmei Derava, 6 lines from the wide lines. V'chein le'inyan mimayna. The same din that we just said, the same thing applies with regard to money. Usricha diashvina kedushin misham da'itzenich leibel koldu. I would have thought maybe it's a special din that the kinyan acquisition of Kiddushin could apply in these funny ways to Dinari, even didn't have a Kanani. Why? Because the woman wants to be married. Kid Reish Lakish, as Reish Lakish famously teaches 3 lines on the wide line, Dam Reish Lakish. Tav le'meisav ta'andum le'meisav armelu. The girl thinks it's better to have company than to sit by myself, meaning any form of marriage is better than nothing. Avo mimayna, emalai. But when it comes to an actual kinyan of money, then maybe you cannot effect an acquisition in such a fashion. Maybe money is different because you can be meichel money, so it's easier to transfer ownership of money. Therefore, we have to teach both of these cases. And with that, we move over to the first wide line, and Rava continues. Amar Rava, says Rava, if a man says the woman is kachili lechatzoi, come married to half of me. What's the halacha mekudeshes? A man is allowed to be married to 2 women, so half of this man can marry this woman. But chetziech mekudeshes li. But if he says to her that he only wants to marry half of her, ain't a mekudeshes, because of course a girl can only be married to 1 man. Amarle Abaye the Rava, and Rabbi asked the question that we just explained. Hachanami asked the Gemara, can't marry half a man either. Namarle, excuse me, I jumped the gun. Rava responds, Hachi Ashta, what's your kasha? Hasam, it's a lebeiche lachazia. 1 woman cannot marry 2 men, and that's why it doesn't work to marry half of her. A man can marry 2 girls, therefore there will not be a problem. That's what he's saying. Doesn't mean only half of him is married. He's saying that if I want to marry someone else, Nisivna, I'm able to do that, and that's the reason why I'll work for her to marry half of him, but he cannot marry half of her. 1 second. But wait, when he marries half of the girl, you know what should happen? It should be a good Kiddushin, because the Kiddushin should be nispashe, it should spread out. And he should effectively own all of her and be like, Tanya, do we now learn in a Braisa, Oimer, Ragla, Shalzu, Ayla, if someone says this regal, this leg of an animal is an Ayla, Teikula Ayla, the halach is it's all an Ayla. Why? The only reason when it comes to an animal that it won't all be an Ayla, because you're being makdish, you're sanctifying part of the animal, it doesn't have the neshama, it doesn't have the life source of the animal itself. So ask the Gemara, why do we say the same thing by us, that it's nispashet, that whatever Kiddushin they try to effect should be over the whole entity, over the whole girl? Says the Gemara, mi dami, hasam behema, hacha das acheres. Over there it's an animal, there's no das. Whereas over here referring to a woman, and therefore there's a das acheres. And she only agrees that half of her is married. Says the Gemara, halodamya eloha, you're right. You know this case is comparable to the following. Damar Rav Yochanan. 2 lines from the bottom of Zayin Amar Aleph Beimashal Shnei Shotfim. You have an animal belonging to 2 owners. Hektish Chatzaya. 1 partner makes half the animal hektish. V'chazer v'lacha, then he buys the other half hektish and he makes it hektish. Kedusha, the halacha is the animal goes to Beis Hamikdash. Ve'enai kreva. But the halacha is it cannot be brought as a carbon. Vaisa Tamura, you exchange the animal of something else. And Tamura is similar to it, that also can be brought as a carbon. So Shema Mina, and Tamura also cannot be brought as a carbon. Why? The last Rashi teaches us the Einai Kreva the Mikaya Kedusha the Chuya Basa. Once the animal is pushed away, therefore this animal cannot be brought as a carbon. Says the Gemara for now, which Rav Yochanan just taught us. Shema Mina Talas. We can learn now 3 dinim for that which Rav Yochanan has taught us as we turn over to Zayin Amud Beis. Shema Mina, number 1, Balachayim Nidachin. Balachayim could be Nidachin, could be pushed away, can be rejected for being brought as a carbon. Also, we learn that when you push something away at the initial point of it becoming active, it's a good dachay. Shema Mina yesh dichoy bedamim. And as well, we learn that there is a concept that it can be dichoy, the monetary value as well, and that's the reason why even after the animal is transferred, the Kedusha still stands. And Bai Rava, continues Rava, if we were trying to remember Daf Zayin, the name Rava would be all over it. Bai Rava, 3 lines down, Zayin Amud Beis. Chetziech bechatzi pruta. If a man gives a pruta to a woman and says to her, half of you are married to me with half a pruta. And the other half is bechatzi pruta. He wants to marry the woman in 2 halves. Mao, what is the halacha? We just said a moment ago we can't marry half a woman, but can he marry her in 2 halves, one after another? Explains the Gemara. Kivan darma lachatzi pruta. Do we say, since he said a half a pruta paska, that stops it and now it's no longer because you can't marry half a girl? Or perhaps might have he's just counting and therefore you will indeed be married to all of her. If Tib Salaymer explains the Gemara might have that he's counting. What's halacha? Chatzich bepruta, but chatzich bepruta. What's halacha? If he says not half of you with half a pruta, he says half of you with a full pruta and half of you with a pruta. Mao kivan damla bepruta. Do we say since he said it should be with a full pruta, piskal and milsa? Pruta is a full entity, so it stops, and he can't marry half a girl. Everything he says in the same day is considered that he is counting. Continues the Gemara and called he's counting. What if he wants to marry her half with 1 pruta today and half with 1 pruta tomorrow? Do we say since he says tomorrow, therefore it splits it up? Or this is what he meant to say there. Kiddushin should start today. Should he conclude ad lemachar? That's the kasha. Kasha number 2. 2 halves you with 1 pruta. It's all 1 point. Or maybe it's a rule. You can't marry a girl in halves. And on all these kashas of Rava answers the Gemara, one emphatic answer. Teiku mirtashem. We gotta wait for Mashiach for that one. Continues the Gemara on the theme of money. What is the minimum value with a marriage? We said in the Mishnah was a pruta echa mishmayna meiser atalki. So Bai Rava, about 13 lines on the wide lines of Zayin and Beis, the 2 dots. If someone says to another man, your 2 daughters should be married to my 2 sons with 1 pruta, what is the halacha? Do we go after the one giving and taking, and therefore the father of the boys, the father of the girls, the pruta is being given, a pruta is being accepted, everything should be fine. Or perhaps Basa did go after the girls for leka, and each girl is not getting a pruta. One more time answers the Gemara. Teiku, we don't have a teretz. Rapapa jumps on and asks, Bitcha uparascha bepruta. What's halach if someone says, I want to marry, let your daughter and your cow become mine? What he meant to say is the daughters have a pruta and the cows have a pruta, therefore there's nothing. Dilma, no. What he meant to say is bitcha bepruta, barascha b'meshicha, and I'm just going to do meshicha, an act of acquisition on your cow. Therefore it should work. Answers the Gemara, take. What if he says that your daughter and a piece of land? Therefore it doesn't work, so you can't marry half of the girl. Or perhaps you want to say your daughter with a pruta of a karkoi b'chazaka. Teiku, and all these questions, we end up with Teiku. We have to pick it up from here, B'siyata Dishmaya, in which we'll continue with the story. 3 lines from the bottom, Ahu Gavra from the wide lines. Have a fabulous day.